The morning sun filtered through my curtains, the soft glow of another clear spring day in Los Angeles waking me. I inhaled deeply, savoring the stillness before my day began, but there was a subtle shift in my usual rhythm. A lingering sense of anticipation had settled over me, a feeling I wasn't entirely comfortable with. It wasn't something I planned for, and yet here it was, disrupting the smooth cadence of my routine. I couldn't stop my thoughts from drifting to Leslie and the plans we had for tonight. A jazz concert at the Hollywood Bowl, spontaneous, unplanned, and yet somehow it felt like it belonged. I moved through my morning with the precision I always applied to my life. Everything has its place. The structured calm of my early yoga session, the predictability of my favorite cafe's perfectly crafted latte, and the familiar rhythm of the office. Work, at least, was something I could control. Numbers, spreadsheets, accounts, those followed rules, and I thrived in that world. I found comfort in knowing that when things added up, they stayed that way, steady and reliable. My colleagues often complimented me on my efficiency, my ability to streamline tasks and manage projects with ease. They admired the way I kept everything in perfect order. It's funny how they see it as a talent when, for me, it's a necessity. A Capricorn is built for this, I remind myself. We thrive in structure, in building solid foundations. But today, even as I diligently worked through the never-ending stream of data, my mind betrayed me, wandering to the evening ahead. Leslie. His name echoed in my thoughts like a soft refrain. He was different, a bit too unstructured, too loose in his approach to life. It was intriguing, but also unsettling. I preferred things I could measure and predict. Relationships, especially, should be like a carefully balanced equation, each part contributing something valuable, with no surprises to throw off the formula. Still, there was something about Leslie's easy smile, and the way he seemed to exist effortlessly in the moment that made me reconsider. He didn't follow the same rules I did, and yet there was an undeniable pull toward him. Was I ready to let someone disrupt the careful order of my life? At lunchtime, I overheard Megan, my colleague, gush about her new boyfriend. She was all smiles and excitement, recounting how he had surprised her with flowers at the office. I couldn't help but smile for her. Grand gestures were lovely, but I wondered how far they could take you. Flowers were nice, but what about the day-to-day realities? How do you handle the tough conversations, the challenges, the moments that aren't wrapped up in romance? For me, love isn't just about the highs. It's about navigating the mundane together, planning for the future, managing schedules, and working as a team. Those things are far more telling than any fleeting romantic gesture. In my mind, a relationship is like building a house. You don't start with the decorations, you start with the foundation. And that foundation has to be strong, rooted in shared values and practical considerations. By the time I left the office, my mind was back to tonight's concert. I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension, both unfamiliar and disarming. I chose my outfit carefully, something simple, yet polished as always. Something that spoke to my pragmatic nature, but with just a hint of elegance. Even in moments like this, I couldn't leave things to chance. I needed to present myself as composed, collected, in control. When Leslie arrived to pick me up, I took a quiet breath. His casual warmth, the way he looked at me with easy confidence, put me more at ease than I expected. We drove to the Hollywood Bowl just as the sun began its descent, casting a golden glow across the city. The amphitheater was alive with energy, the hum of tuning instruments blending with the excited murmurs of the crowd. It was a beautiful scene, one that I could appreciate for its organized chaos, the way it all came together in a kind of seamless harmony. As the jazz ensemble began to play, I found myself relaxing, allowing the smooth, rhythmic melodies to wash over me. Jazz is improvisational by nature, unpredictable and fluid, and yet tonight, it felt grounding in a strange way. I watched Leslie as he listened, his eyes closed, tapping his foot along with the beat. He seemed at home in the unpredictability of it all, something I couldn't fully understand, but admired nonetheless. I realized then that Leslie didn't have to fit neatly into the carefully organized compartments of my life. Perhaps, like jazz, there was room for a bit of spontaneity, for moments that couldn't be planned or predicted. He brought a balance I hadn't anticipated, an element of surprise that, if I let it, might actually enhance the structure I'd built. Love, after all, doesn't have to be about absolute compatibility. It can be about complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses, about finding harmony in the differences. After the concert, when Leslie suggested grabbing coffee at a nearby cafe, I hesitated for only a second. Normally, I'd decline, sticking to my planned evening, but tonight, the idea of lingering in the moment didn't feel so out of place. Over the warmth of espresso and soft conversation, I began to see Leslie in a new light. He wasn't trying to disrupt my world. He was offering a new perspective, one that I could blend with my own. As we talked about our lives, our philosophies, I felt a quiet sense of possibility unfold. Maybe this was the beginning of something real, something grounded in both the practical and the magical. I could still hold on to my values of stability, planning, and building a solid foundation. But with Leslie, there was room for the unexpected, for moments of joy that didn't require a plan. As we parted ways, I felt lighter, more open to the changes this spring seemed determined to bring. I wasn't giving up control, just learning to balance it with a little more flexibility. And with that thought, I embraced the possibility that maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of something beautiful and enduring.